All right, we're live. Hey guys, this is Josh Peak, OKUSA Wrestling, and we have Sam Hazewinkel with us today. Sam, thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure.
Well, cool, man. Well, we've been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm glad we finally get to do this. We have a couple things to talk about. The first thing, though, I want to congratulate you on your new position there at OKRTC.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm excited about it. It's good to be home,
Yeah.
Been a few years away from OU, learned it's unreal how much I learned, but it's good to be home.
Well, let's talk about where it all started for you. You obviously there's a lineage, a family of wrestling for you. So, how old were you when you started?
I have no idea. I don't remember ever not wrestling.
Yep.
I always done it.
Cool. Now are you guys? So you lived in Florida for a while, but so were you guys? You were in Oklahoma, and then made the move to Florida. Is that how? Did I have that right?
Yep. Started in Minnesota. I was born in Minnesota. Moved to Oklahoma when we were 6. Was here all the way through 9th grade, and then did the last 3 years of high school in Florida, and then came back to OU for college.
Cool. Now, did you train all three styles when you were first starting out? I mean, or was it is it mainly folk style, or what was kind of the thing for you guys? I mean, as far as, did you do all three styles?
I did all three styles. Like other kids may switch sports, football season, then wrestling season. We went right from folk style into freestyle and Greco. And I don't remember not doing it. Back when AAU was real big, we went to AAU nationals every year.
Yeah.
And, back then wrestling was a little different. Not everybody traveled. You drove everywhere. The sports really evolved, which is awesome. And you can see it in the wrestling, like Little League wrestling is so much better. But people can travel around, and it's a lot better system nowadays to go get matches, see the best in the country, and improve yourself.
Cool. So your dad and your uncle both wrestled. Tell me a little bit about them. Obviously, they've had a storied career.
Oh, yeah. It's not very often you meet an Olympian that's not the best athlete in their family. And I'm not even close to the best. Both of them made 2 Olympic teams. Many consider my dad and my uncle as kind of getting Greco going in the U.S. My dad has a bunch of firsts behind his name. He was the first to win a silver medal in the World Championships for the U.S. No one had done above a bronze yet in Greco-Roman. He was the first to win 2 medals in a row. He back-to-back years, 69 and 70, got a silver and a bronze. And him and my uncle, I think they made 6 or 7 straight teams, 2 Olympic teams. Yeah, my uncle was the second NAI 4-time national champ. And so they have a very storied career, and I love it too. They didn't start till their junior year of high school. They were both in band, just sports. They were little. My dad graduated high school. He weighed 95 pounds. So he, when they got introduced to wrestling, they no way we're doing it. And there's weight classes. Like, oh, all right, well, we're in then. So they jumped into it, both feet, and got really good at it. And thankfully they taught me a lot of what they did, and it worked for me. And now I'm hoping to teach it to the next generation,
Well, I think everybody's excited for a variety of reasons. I mean, I think there's no doubt you're the right man for the job, but bringing in, a little bit more, basically, I mean, you've done freestyle and Greco, and we're good at both, but we finally have some Greco teaching here in Oklahoma. And I know Zach Randall, he's a big Greco guy too. So I think we're going to have a Greco flavor in Oklahoma.
Yeah. We've done really well in Greco the last 5 or 6 years. We've been placing at junior duels and at Fargo, and that's without Greco being a thing in Oklahoma. We're a freestyle, folk style state, and I agree with you. I think Greco is going to be on the rise now.
Yeah, we've had some guys. I mean, we have the athletes, obviously, like you said. I mean, if the athletic ability is there, because you got guys, that are either high All-American or maybe even winning it in Fargo, and so the athletic ability is there. And I think everybody we've talked to on these interviews have all said the same thing, from ages probably 13 to say 18 right now in Oklahoma. I mean, we're loaded. Like, there's so much depth right now, and we don't even have the population that these other states have, but the depth in the weights from schoolboy to juniors is amazing right now.
Yes. I helped out with the Fargo camp, I think 2 years ago, and was really impressed and encouraged that group. I want to say it was the cadet, it might have been schoolboy, but oh my goodness, the wrestling in there. I went in kind of thinking I would teach some basic stuff and realized real quick I can show advanced stuff, and they knew so much of it already. The level of wrestling is improving yearly, and in Oklahoma it's improving, and it shows. That team, as you're saying, it shows, and all of us coaches and educators in Oklahoma, we're excited about what's coming.
Oh yeah. So then let's go to your junior high and then high school years. In junior high, you wrestled here in Oklahoma, in the Oklahoma City area, right?
Yep.
How did that work out for you?
Won the we had a really good team. My Christian school, and we won Tulsa Nationals, and we won JOC, and we did all those. And my dad would always pit us against each other. Tion Ware was with us, and some of the older will remember Nate Thorson, and we would, we were battling for the OW at every tournament. We planned on winning. We wanted the OW, and we were facing each other for it. And it was a lot of fun those years. We went to everything, like I said, AAU nationals, and it's kind of crazy. Got to high school and stopped traveling, and by the time junior year Fargo, I was kind of unknown. Nobody really knew who I was, and I don't know if that was by design. I don't know exactly how that happened, but it worked out well. It gave me a lot of confidence when I was young, and then allowed me to kind of come in late in the game as an underdog, and having to prove myself a little bit, and it worked out well for me. So
that's good. That's today, I don't think that would happen. I mean, today you'd be known. I mean,
I would have. So, Flow wasn't around. YouTube wasn't a thing. We didn't have all that. When I was getting into college was the first time I'd heard of YouTube or Facebook. And, I remember somebody was telling me, like, Facebook's this thing you do in college. Everybody's on it. And I was very much like, fake word, not real. Internet's not real. Yep. Sure enough, everybody's got it,
Oh, so yeah.
It's changed a lot and been good for the sport.
Oh, yeah, I think it has. There's more exposure. Colleges get to see it. I think it makes it easier on coaches from the standpoint of you may get to see somebody you would have never have been able to. Absolutely. And so I think it makes scouting a little bit easier.
Absolutely. It's styles, it used to be like the East Coast style. And if you never wrestled a kid from Pennsylvania, it blew your mind when you got to Fargo. You're used to the Oklahoma style. And it has absolutely helped with that. You're seeing less of it. It's getting harder to tell East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, which is a good thing. It's evolving the sport.
Yeah. So so then in high school you went to Florida. What area of Florida did you wrestle in?
Pensacola, up there on the Panhandle. Yeah, I miss the beaches. I miss that. But I love Oklahoma. I'm an Okie through and through.
Yeah.
Love it. I love the people here. I love the mindset and the culture in Oklahoma. I don't see myself ever leaving.
Well, that's good. That's good for Oklahoma. Well, so then, obviously the coaches, the colleges were looking. So why Oklahoma? What was the deciding factor when you said, okay, I'm going to commit to University of Oklahoma?
Yeah, I was looking at OU, OSU, Minnesota were kind of my big three. I remember I wanted to go to Iowa just to see what it was like, because every high school kid, Iowa, that's what you do. And they said, no, we already got a 25. And so I had to beat him up a little bit when I got to college. And I knew I wanted to go to Oklahoma. And like I said, it was between OU, OSU. And what it really came down to was the guys at OU. I really enjoyed the guys at OU, and they fit my beliefs a lot better. And I felt like Tion and I could both do really well at OU. And so I was trying to push him toward OU, and it ended up being that's where we chose, and absolutely loved it.
Yeah, you guys had good careers there, all of you guys. I mean, you and Tion, and was
in general, we were tough. Yeah. We were first, third, top 5 every year. The Big 12, we were man, we had 5 teams in the top 10. I want to say 3 to 4 years I was there. Yeah, wrestling was on the rise, and it was mostly Oklahoma kids, at both OU and USU. It was a lot of Oklahoma kids. And to get back to what you were saying earlier, I feel like that's coming again. We're about to dominate in college wrestling here real soon.
It looks like it. It looks like you guys are getting some good recruits, from Oklahoma.
Yes, yeah. We're Coach Roselli's doing a great job recruiting. I think we've gotten over the bubble myself. I think we cleared the bubble. I think we would have seen it last year. And last year I was on the outside looking in, and I felt like, you had 5 guys that were round of 12. They could be All-Americans, and they could not make All-American. And I really was excited to see. I was thinking we were going to turn the corner. We're going to see maybe all 5 of them All-American, and I think we'll see that this year. Which I heard today. It's looking like wrestling's going to go. Nothing official yet, but it sounds like we're going to start. So that's good for college wrestling. That's good for us here in Oklahoma. We need to see wrestling get going.
So do you think that'll be like January 1 still that's going to start, or do you think it'll start before then?
My impression that is it's going to start before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was hoping for January.
Yeah.
And it seems to be pointing that we're going to get it going before that.
That's good.
Yeah, which is good.
I think we're definitely going to have I know we're going to have a high school season. I know Zach was mentioning some things here that if all went bad, then OKUSA would step in. And so I know they're going to have a regional and state tournament, pretty sure. So at least that, but I think you're going to see some duels and your district duels, your dual state and regionals and state. So it looks like that's going to happen. I think it's coming back. I think it's just a matter of now.
I'm biased for sure towards sports. I think people are realizing we need it. It's a part of the culture. We need sports happening. Kids need an outlet. They got a lot of energy. Parents need the break. You need to have other role models. Where I absolutely love my dad. My son doesn't want me coaching him. He has no part of it. And so I want good coaches in his life. I want good role models. And I think that's, from what I've seen, that's more common. Boys don't want their dads being their coach. They want somebody else to be their coach. They kind of butt heads, and we need that. We need good role models in these lives of the kids. And sports has always been something that's helped. The Great Depression, it was race cars and boxing. It helped people get through. We need so. I think people are seeing that, and I'm wholly on board with it, and I think it's going to happen. Common sense can prevail. We can be smart about how we go about it and learn. Everybody's learning right now. It's a whole, we're facing things we haven't faced before, and I think we're learning as we go, and that'll continue. Mistakes will be made, and we'll learn from it and move forward, and that's what wrestling teaches. Adversity. You face adversity, and you learn how to cut weight and keep going to practice and do what you need to do when you don't feel like it. And I think wrestling has always led in that, and I think we need to continue to lead.
I think so, yeah, and that's a good point. That common sense will prevail. I think that's a good point, and I think we're smart enough to make it happen, and I think we're starting to see that. So then after, let's go into your international years then. So after college, then, let's talk about that for just a second. Your college career, how did that all go down for you as far as your finishes? And then if you didn't get what you want, then obviously I'm sure it motivated you into the international years.
Yes. My goal was always win an Olympic team, and I wanted to win college. Absolutely wanted to go and compete at the college level, but my goal was Olympics. And so I used college to help motivate me for Olympics and worlds. And college, I ended up third, second. That NCAA tournament's, it's tough to win. It evaded me and it taught me a lot. I had to learn a lot, and I wouldn't change a thing. You always wish you would have won or wish you'd changed. 2020s, looking backwards,
Sure.
2020. I enjoyed my college career. I absolutely enjoyed it and loved it and loved OU and look forward to helping the next generation and not making the mistakes I made, and doing the things right that I did right.
So what made you think, I mean, I know I followed your career, obviously internationally. So what was the deciding factor of, because you're good at both freestyle and Greco. So what was the deciding factor of I'm going to go Greco or I'm going to go freestyle?
I think I was best at Greco. I think I've always been best at Greco. And my dad did Greco, so I kind of leaned toward it. And at the time, when I came out of high school, I did my first U.S. Open. And on the freestyle scene, Sammy Henson was still there. I think Zeke Jones had just finished. There was Stephen Abbas was in. There was a bunch of world champs, Olympic champs, medalists, all down there at that lowest weight. And I was a little guy for sure. And Greco wasn't as deep. And so all signs kind of pointed to doing Greco. And I had a knack for it, So I did Greco, and I would have always done both. They usually, they wrestle at the same time, freestyle and Greco, and that's the way it's normally been. And I want to say it was maybe 2010 that they split them up, made them different weekends. As soon as they split them up, I did both. I've been a fan of that my whole life. You see it in high school. Everybody does, not everybody, but most kids do both in freestyle and Greco at Fargo. And, some reason in college, we stopped doing both and we do just one, and it's folk style. And then you do freestyle in the freestyle season. And there's truth to that. Some kids need to focus on one, but I've always been a fan of wrestling is wrestling. And, my Greco helped my freestyle and helped my folk style, and my folk style helped my Greco. And, I was listening to one of your interviews with Joe Betterman. He was saying the same thing, for a little bit, he did folk style to help his Greco. Mango was the same way. He would go to open tournaments all the time. Ivan, when he was up there at Northern Michigan, sent his guys to folk style tournaments. And there's, wrestling's wrestling. The more you can understand it, the more you can switch between styles, the more rounded a wrestler you are.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point too, because I mean, you hear so many people going, well, you need to focus on one. But I hear from you and Betterman that, okay, if you get good at all three, it's the changing from going from one to the other is not really that. If you're a good wrestler, it's not that difficult,
Agreed.
But at some point, you probably do need to, like, if you're a Greco guy and you're definitely that guy, then you probably go that route at some point.
Right? There's times when you have to choose. If both are going at the same time, you got to choose one. It's not necessarily in your best interest to try to do 6 matches where everybody else is doing 3, and you got to make 2 weigh-ins 2 days in a row, one for freestyle, one for Greco, and you got training camps going on back to back, and sometimes you need to choose. You can't train at that level and recover the way you need to, so you got to choose either freestyle or Greco. And I get that, and some kids need to focus on folk style. I was always a fan of a jack of all trades. I think it helped me, but other people, you need to master one. If you not the starter at any of them, you better master one of them. If you need to be starting at one if you want to do all 3. And so there's truth to both sides of that coin. I'm a big fan though of Little League, high school. Get in as much as you can. There's generally no issues with doing all 3 styles. So I think you should. And I think the science shows that. There's been a lot of push in the last 10 years on specializing one sport. And I don't just mean within wrestling. I mean one sport. You do wrestling or you do baseball and you don't do the other one. And I think the science is starting to show that especially younger, doing all the sports is better. Being more rounded, learning how to be athletic, learning how to compete, finding the sport you excel at.
I think so too. I mean, I've seen both sides of that debate, and at first I was like, you see these kids become really good really early, right? And as a parent, you're like, man, I want my kid to be that good. But if I was to give advice to my son when he has kids at some point later down the road, I would be like, man, you want to get him in it as many things. I mean, let him touch as many things as they can: soccer, golf, football, wrestling. And I think you're right. I think the athletic parts of all of those, they're going to find what they love.
Yeah,
And
there's no problem with specializing in the like having one you do year round. So I wrestled year round, but I did, I don't know, 6 other sports during the year. I did football, I did track, I did cross country, I did everything I could. I wanted to do them, but I still had wrestling during football. I did it twice a week. So there's in that sense, there's no problem with specializing, but I'm a fan of it. I think you should. I think you should get out and do other sports. And I would hate it if, Phelps' dad made him just wrestle and never let him try swimming, and that dude should be a swimmer. He's good at it.
Right.
He's built for it, and
right.
I'm a fan of that. Let your kid find out what sports they enjoy, what they're good at, and then get them with a good coach. That's true in wrestling. You should, a lot of hands is good. A lot of different coaches, learn the different styles, but I'm still a believer, you have your coach. You have your coach that makes you better. Michael Leitner been my coach for, a long time now. It was 20 years. It was my dad till college, and then it was pretty much Michael Leitner after that. And when I did Greco, I wanted Leitner in my corner. He knew how to get in my head. His voice I heard. I never heard anything else once the match started. I never heard the crowd. I could hear a whistle, and I had a couple coaches I could hear. And Leitner was one of them. So I wanted him in my corner. He doesn't know a lot about Greco, but he knows a lot about me.
Yeah.
And that helped me. He knew how to get in my head and keep me centered, keep me on track. He knew how to read the signs. He knew my tells. And I think that's important. I think kids need to have their coach. Get as many coaches as you can, but have your coach.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. I can feel that when you're saying that. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Man, wisdom. There we go.
Yeah. So what about, I know there's been a lot of talk, and like, it's easy to talk to you about this because you've been at all different levels and then different styles. Do you think that the NCAA eventually, do you think it would go more towards freestyle, or do you think we'll always have folk style in America?
We'll always have folk style. I think we should. I know there's a big push the other side, but I don't necessarily see the evidence for it. Everybody always points to Russia, and we're right there with Russia every year. We're top 3 every year. And Russia, that, every year we hear that they cheated. They'll have guys that drug tested. We just found out we're Olympic champs 2012 because 3 Russians that were on the Olympic team all failed a drug test now. They backdate and find out, oh, yeah, that is a steroid. And back then we didn't know, you didn't know yet. You see that all the time. So I don't know that their system's better than ours. Most countries have a folk style. They have a style they do. And I think there's history and tradition in it. It makes us unique. It makes us where we don't train like everybody else. We have a little bit different view of how we approach wrestling, and we're known as being grinders, and that's because of folk style. We grind it out. You learn a college season, you know how to grind by the time you get to international. So I'm a fan of keeping folk style. I think we need to. But there's always
I don't see it changing. Maybe the rules changing a little bit when you see more of a push out.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but I don't know if we'll ever go.
I'd like to see a step out. I like those kind of rules. I have no problem with kind of leaning toward the freestyle or Greco style and kind of adding those in. I think that's wise to do, but I think we keep folk style. Yeah.
So what is your role there at the OKRTC? Obviously, you're the head coach. Are you guys going to be bringing in some new international guys or some? And then obviously we have the Oklahoma development coming up. You're going to have a whole crew of guys that I think eventually you're going to say, I want to go that route. I think RTCs are great things for the development. So what is your vision look like for the OKRTC in the upcoming years here?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out and learning all the rules. USA starting to add in rules, and you got the compliance side with the colleges, and so I've been trying to look at what I want, our mission statement, where I think it needs to go, and I'm not in a hurry to just get something out. I want to make sure I do it right. So I've been talking with others and trying to find the right way to do it. But I keep coming back to I want to make kids successful, and success isn't always winning. There's a right way to do things, and if you're doing it right, you're going to have your best chance to win. I could do everything perfect, and LeBron James could do nothing for a year, and that dude's going to beat me in basketball. He's built for it. He's better at it. I'm not built for basketball, However, if I'm doing things right, that's my best chance to beat him. I'm going to find success. I'm going to have the best route there. So that's what I'm hoping to bring to the table, is teach them how to have success and in wrestling and in life. I don't want to say, come here and you're going to win. I want to say, come here and you're going to be successful. I'm going to do my part to teach you how to succeed in life. So I'm leaning hard toward that. We got two guys in right now. We got Taylor Brahamani. He wrestled at Pitt. Gavin, the head coach there, was a coach at OU for a little bit. And we have Lucas Laverne. He's 3-time national champ in NAIA. And so we have those two guys right now. We absolutely look to build it. Oklahoma in general, but Oklahoma University also has a unbelievable tradition, like a great wrestling tradition. The number of Olympians in Oklahoma is massive in wrestling, and we've always been a powerhouse. And I feel like we've been dropping off last few years, and I'm looking forward to helping us get back to that. That's my personal goal is getting us back there. We need to have guys on the team every year. I really want to get it back to.
And you're talking about world and Olympic teams. I mean, yeah.
And a big part of that is the youth, and I've heard you talk about it in a couple other interviews, the feeder programs. And if I want to have a good international, I need a good feeder program, and so I'm a big fan of making Oklahoma in general better at wrestling. And RTCs have a unique spot where we can do that. I'm going to be able to help out a lot. And I like it fits me real well. I have a kid that's wrestling. I'm going to be able to go to youth stuff, and I'm going to be able to talk to him. It was one of the things I didn't like about the compliance side of NCAA. You're not supposed to talk to kids during a tournament. And I see a kid over in the corner crying because he had a rough match, and I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to go talk to him and try to help him out. And where before that was kind of, frowned upon. I don't like that. I was going to do it anyway, and I don't think anybody ever had a problem with that. I
don't think so either. I think
it should be. But I like not having that over my, a cloud over my head that I can't do that. That I can go help out. I can have kids come in and help them out. I don't have to worry about you're recruitable age. You can't be here because that might be cheating. And I want to be able to help kids. So it fits my personality real well doing this RTC. And I look forward to helping out a lot with, all of our age groups, all of our levels, as much as I'm allowed to.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, going back to what I was saying earlier, you bring something unique. Not only are you good for Oklahoma wrestling, just listen to that. I mean, you help kids that need help. I mean, I think that's what parents, they want to see. Obviously, if somebody comes over and helps their kids, invaluable. But then, the next step is that it's not just a freestyle guy or Greco guy. You're good at both.
Right.
You bring something real unique,
Yeah. I appreciate that. And I imagine I'll be helping a lot more on the Greco side with especially with the youth. But absolutely, I have a lot of roots in the freestyle, and that's more what I'll be doing at the college level is the freestyle. So I look forward to it. I look forward to being help at each level and all three styles for that matter.
Well, maybe, I mean, I don't know what the plans are again for RTC stuff, whatever, but I think, used to, there was times where we would bring in international people here, or, there'd be a kind of an international exchange type situation. That'd be cool if Oklahoma could get into that again. I mean, obviously after COVID, we got to get that all cleared up first. Reds went international 3 times now, and I don't know, it makes a difference when you've been there a couple times, and then it's not a big deal if you make a world team because you've already done. Yeah,
absolutely. It's like what we were talking about earlier with East Coast, West Coast. If you've already seen Russian wrestlers, you already wrestled them. It's not a big deal. It's you're used to it.
Yeah,
and absolutely, that's a good thing. We want to get that as much as we can.
Well, we get some comments here. Here's Whit talking about getting girls into an RTC. I'm sure that'll probably happen.
I would absolutely think so. OU's been doing that a long time. When I was here, Sarah McMahon and Jenny Wong both trained at OU all the time. I got a little daughter coming up. She might have the best chance at being the next in our family to be an Olympian. My son's a lot like me. He's super mean. Like, I'm the meanest guy I've ever met. No, both of us would rather, hug you than wrestle you. Like, we're your buddy, and we're athletes. And we love competing, but we don't want to hurt people. We want to be nice. My daughter, however, takes from my wife's side. My wife's Indian, and anybody in Oklahoma kind of knows the Indian women are super nice. Not at all stubborn and mean at all. Yeah. So she has that little bit of that in her, and she's tough. She's going to be real tough. So I'm kind of biased towards some women wrestling. I want to see my daughter do well, and I'll tell you what, it's growing in Oklahoma quickly. And
well, it's good for the sport. From the standpoint of when you're talking about keeping the sport alive, you can make the argument that women's wrestling may be the reason it keeps growing.
Yeah, it's good. It helps a lot with Title IX. It's rare you see a college program add it now that it doesn't add both. It solves a lot of problems. And I know myself, I was kind of brought up like women shouldn't wrestle. It's, you shouldn't. Weren't against it. It was just like, and then somebody asked me once, like, would you let your daughter do judo? It's like, yeah, of course. Judo. It's not wrestling. And I kind of realized, like, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's good. And so since then, that changed my mind. That was enough that changed my mind. I'm going to, if my daughter wants to wrestle, I'm going to do everything to help her wrestle. We're going to find a good girls club, find one of the high schools that has girls wrestling, which, man, what are we up to now in Oklahoma? We had 3 or 4 right at the end of last year, start wrestling teams. And I've been hearing about more adding, and I don't even know what the number is now.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Broken Arrow's got something really good going over there, and I know that you're starting to see a lot of other high school teams pick it up. I think with the tradition, I mean, again, I think part of the reason we're good in Oklahoma right now is all these dads we're kind of around the same age now. They've had kids, and they're all wrestling. Well, a lot of those guys have daughters too, so I think it's going to be a natural progression of there's going to be some really good girls come through Oklahoma. They wrestle their brothers all the time anyway. So
I think we're seeing it in the U.S. and I'm trying to say this without it being not correct PC, but it seemed like wrestling, the women's wrestling used to be very like the rough and tough. I'm the tomboy, like I'm a wrestler. And now it's a lot more the athletes. You're getting the girl athletes. It's not just the girl trying to prove she's tough and doesn't know about wrestling and hasn't done it until high school. And not to say that we didn't have them. It's the perception of women's wrestling is changing, and you're seeing a lot more athletes in there, and their talents are showing through. And whether that's the evolution of women's wrestling in the U.S. or it is that we're getting athletes, however that is, the perception's moving the right direction, which is good. It is. We need good wrestling,
Yeah, we're seeing some real good women's wrestling going on right now.
Yeah.
With Sarah Hildebrandt, and then you got Helen, of course, and all. I mean, there's it's not just a few. There is some depth. I mean, there's some good wrestling girls right now. So
OCU's was, I want like the second school to have college wrestling for women, the second or third. We've been a leader in it in Oklahoma, and people kind of forget that. For the same idea you were talking about earlier, we're just a smaller school, smaller state. We're not in the limelight as much, and but the fact is, we've been one of the forefront for women's wrestling, and I think we'll continue to be.
Well, let's talk about Zach a little bit, what he's done for OKUSA. I think we're all moving in the right direction. It looks like it's real tight, and we got a good board.
Yes. He's brought in some much needed solidarity to the state. It's wrestling's a young man's game, and we had a bunch of energy and had good people leading, and it just kind of broke up a little, and I feel like right now, I'd like to think it's Zach. It might be a little bit like you said, a bunch of us that kind of came through it when Oklahoma was last really peaking in strength of wrestling, and we have kids now, and we're jumping back on board and trying to help out, and you see a lot of solidarity, and Zach's kind of at the forefront of it and doing a great job. I talk to him all the time. He has been nothing but help, he hasn't tried to push any agendas on me. He's here to help. How can I help you with RTC? And how can I help you with this? And hey, will you help with kids? No promises. We help. Yeah, absolutely. I'll help. Let's get it going. And I really like what he's doing. I really like the direction we're going right now.
Yeah, we have to keep Oklahoma together. I mean, again, if we don't have the numbers that say Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, these guys do, then we have to do some things a little bit different. We have to be united, and then, and I think that's happening. I think it's happening, and so we live in a special time in Oklahoma right now, as far as, like I said, from that schoolboy to junior age, and I'm not leaving out. I'm sure there's some even younger that are going to be great, but that group is tough. Yeah,
special. They really are. It's a special group, and a lot of them have been training with each other. It's not like I know when I was young, it was very much you had little clubs everywhere, and everybody was on a little. And I say club, it would be like you had Duncan, and you had Midwest City, Mustang, and there wasn't a lot of mixing, and you didn't have the big clubs like we have now. Oklahoma did a good job back then of like when it was Fargo, we were a team. We became Oklahoma again, and I think we're getting back to that. We're becoming a team. It's one of the fun things about doing international is watching these college guys from across the U.S. that I'm Iowa. We don't talk to anybody else. You guys are the bad guys, and we're all sitting in the sauna cutting weight, and we're the only ones that speak English. Everybody else in there's from another country, and watching them kind of realize, like, you know what, I'm going to join in. I'm going to be part of the team. And then they become, USA. It's not Iowa and OU and Minnesota anymore. We're Team USA. And that's happening in Oklahoma. Like we're Oklahoma. I'm this club, or I'm that club, or I'm this city and that city, but hey, I'm Oklahoma.
I think that's what's special too. Like, now that you brought that up, you got schoolboy duels, cadet duels, junior duels, and Fargo. When those guys all get together and we're Team Oklahoma, I mean, we have a mission. I mean, we're going to win.
It's good to see. We need more of that. The little club teams we're used to have in Oklahoma, now you have all the specialized teams. You have whatever elite, and you got the best kids from all over the country wrestling together. And I don't have a problem with them, but the ones where it states, we're really, you're seeing success, and you can see the pride in Oklahoma coming out a little bit, and it's good. Yeah. We need that.
Well, let me talk about the last thing here. We have a golf tournament coming up. Are you aware of that? So, so we have our on the OK USA Facebook page. If you're watching it here, like we're using a platform here to where when we do this live, so you're seeing it on Facebook, but obviously it goes to YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, whatever we want it to go to. And so on our Facebook page, though, I think it's tagged at the top. We have our we have our thing where it has all of our GoFundMe links, and so there's OU, OSU, OCU, and then UCO. So you're an OU guy. So
I am.
You're going to plug that the OU guys need to come on and start pulling out their pocketbook a little bit and helping out.
Yeah, get on there and help out, and it's for Oklahoma. It's for our kids, and hopefully you'll be a little smarter than I did. I got on there, and I don't know if my phone wasn't loading or I'm just not tech savvy, but I signed up under Broncos and put $50 on the Bronco team, and then I got on and was like, wait a minute, there's a Sooner team? Like, oh man, but that's all right. I love the Broncos too. I was there for a couple of years. They helped me out a lot, taught me a lot about coaching, and that's fine. It's all going to the same place, and I like it. I hope people get on there, and if you I don't want to be a coach and tell people what to do, but sign up under Sooners. Don't do what I did and mess up. If you need a place to sign, because I want to see the Sooners win. But yeah, it's a good thing, and I hope we get some teams. I hope we get some teams out there, and let's help keep growing Oklahoma. We need that. We could make this a big thing that people get out there and go play for your college, but it's for Oklahoma, and let's all keep doing this thing where we're coming together as a state and getting better. Yeah.
No, I mean, you're right. And this helps. It does. It helps out with the dual teams, and then Fargo. We want to have as many people Fargo as possible. I mean, if we can, we want the numbers. I mean, that's what we're up against. We have the talent, but we need the numbers. And if we have enough people there going to Fargo, we can compete with, I think, with anybody in the country.
100% we can. 100%. We grow them tough here. The tough part's easy. The talent part's easy. We got unbelievable amount of Olympians in Oklahoma helping out and coaching. We got club coaches that have been around forever, and the talent is absolutely there. Let's get the numbers up and go show out.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Sam.
Sure.
Again. Yeah, we have scrolling down here on the very bottom. You have our Twitter, and then it's a new page that we've started, and then we have the OKUSA Press on Facebook and as well as Instagram. So make sure you go follow that, sign up for those, or at least plug into those. And again, at the very top of the OKUSA Facebook pages are our GoFundMe links, and so pick a team, and if you want to put a group together, go to the golf outing. Make sure you do that. It'd be a lot of good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be good to see everybody. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm still learning all this RTC stuff, but I want to get around. Times are changing, and like right now, I can only have 6 guys on a team, so it's hard to, or 6 guys on the mat, and so it's hard to do big practices where I can get everybody in. But I have no problem getting out and about. You have a high school team, you have a club team, and you want us to get out there, give me a ring, reach out to me. I got my 2 guys training. We'd love to come by. If we can make it happen, we'll come by, run a practice, and help out. We want to help the state. We want to see everybody do better, and I want to see those guys get supported too. And we'll all get better that way. You kind of help support these RTC guys, and we'll come help support your high school, your club team, and we can all get better and move the right direction.
How do they get in touch with you? I mean, you have your Instagram, Facebook page, all that. I mean, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you if they want to follow you or get in touch?
Yeah, my phone number, a lot of people have it. A lot of the coaches already have it, and it should be easy enough to track down. I do have my Twitter. Feel free to DM me or tweet me or however that, how all that works. And my email is my name at Gmail. So feel free to email me, and I'm here to help the state, and I will do everything I can to do that. Cool. I know we'll all get better helping each other. So
yeah. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on. I know you got something to go to here, so I'll go ahead and end this. But I appreciate it, Sam.
Yeah, Josh, absolutely. Tell Red I said hey, and hopefully he has a good practice today.
You bet. We'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.